Hello, hello, hello. We are back. We are on our fourth video of the topic, where did you go? Basically, we're trying to answer the question of, who are you? Where did you go? Some of us feel lost, and we're asking this question, and these videos hopefully will help you get a little closer to that answer. So in this series, what we've been doing is looking at a jar, okay? And this jar represents your container. We start off filled with clear water. We came from our source, God, and we are a part of that source. We are like, it's like taking out a cup of water from the ocean is basically what we are, our essence. And so we start off these vibrant young children in this clear container, and we are clear and just in the present. We're not living in the past. We're not worried about the future. Our job is to play and to learn. But life starts to hand us some things, and then our container gets full of junk. And now what we're doing is to try to remember the essence of who we are and to unpack the things that we've put in our container over the years. My name is Angela Miller. I'm an emotional health coach, and I help people feel their way to healing so that they can find the freedom that they really deserve. So let's continue forward on looking at this. So far, we've taken out some, the very first thing we went to is these large rocks. Okay, these represented the bigger traumas in our life. And I always recommend that you start there first. It's not something that I did, and I think I lengthened my discovery of who I was as a result of it. But basically, these are the things that are really weighing us down. They're traumas that perhaps we have not dealt with yet. We know they exist, and we know that we need to deal with them. And when we took this out, there was a lot of stories and beliefs and emotions that are attached to these. So one of the best ways to really start to learn who you are and your identity again is to start here with the big traumas. So we took out some of those big traumas. We've also looked at some of the roles. These golf balls were in here. They represented the roles that we've played and that we over-identify with. For example, being a mother, and how attached we are, and how when our children leave and we become empty nesters, for some of us, this can become a really, really hard transitionary period. Okay, so we've taken out so far these big heavy rocks, we've taken out our roles, and we've started to identify them as I gave the homework last time on the roles. And this time, what we're going to look at is our events and our circumstances. So these are represented by the tinier stones and rocks that we put in here. So there's a multitude of them, and you're not going to put all of them in your container. But what we want to do is just simply identify them. We want to see the points in your life that really, where you would say, yeah, that's a rock, that's a pebble, that's a stone in my shoe, right? And we're gonna add that to our container because there's still some emotional attachment to it. There's still something there that we haven't quite worked through. And so just like with the roles, what I'm suggesting that you do in order to identify these events and circumstances is use this timeline. And you'll see on the back of me what I've done on the chalkboard. What I've done here is that we just simply make a timeline of our life. So I start at birth, and then we move all the way over to the age that you are now. And then in between that, you're going to see, you can separate the timelines however you want. I did it by sevens now, and so every 7 years I've identified those. And then what I did is I put in some significant events or circumstances that happened in my life that are still, they changed the course of things. All right, so for example, you'll see on there that even though I was divorced, okay, you will see on there, you'll notice that that was also a big trauma for me because of everything that happened in my divorce. So it was a big grief center. So it was a life-changing condition, and a circumstance is a condition that changes the course of your life. All right, so there's other events though. For example, when my little brother was born, that was a big time for me because I was the only child, and then all of a sudden I was not the only child, and I was sharing mom and dad. I had a really significant grounding when I was 17 years old in my senior year, and I noted that on there. I noted when I joined the military because it was a change in my condition. I noted when I was separated before I got divorced. Years before that, we had a brief separation period. All right, so basically, that's what you need to do, is just note these significant, go through your timeline, all right, these moments, these experiences that changed the way life was going for you at that moment, all right? It kind of derailed you a little bit, or it brought in just a lot of emotions. All right, because underneath that's when you're going to start to identify the emotions that it brought forth. So if you look down underneath when my brother was born, jealousy emerged. All right, so and then when I was grounded, I can see that a lot of shame and a lot of guilt and a lot of helplessness started to come in. And so I didn't identify all of them on this board, but that's what you would do, is you would start going through this and identifying all of the feelings, all of the emotions that were part of these events or circumstance changes. And what we're looking for is patterns, all right? Looking for patterns. For example, by the time I was done doing all of this work, I realized that resentment, that jealousy, bitterness, there was a lot of betrayal and rejection and helplessness that I was repeating over and over and over again. So the only way we can really stop a pattern is, first off, we have to become aware of it. And we're not always aware that we're consistently doing this over and over and over again, and that these events or circumstances are coming into our life to show us that they're still there. And this is what you need to do. We need to identify. That's our first step, is just simply identify. Oh my gosh, okay. You don't have to. This isn't necessary, but if you're stuck, this can be a way for you to start to just identify these moments in your life where you started this, so that then we can break the pattern and start to identify who you are now. All right, because at that point you put in some pebbles, you put in some stones. And that's what we need to identify, pull out those pebbles and stones, all the emotions that are lingering within us, and then we can get back to the clarity and the identification of who we really are. All right, until tomorrow, thanks for watching.